You're sleeping on frozen ground when a boot crashes into your ribs. It's not even dawn yet. Welcome to the Mongol army, the most efficient killing machine in human history. You're at the bottom of a hierarchy so brutal that survival itself is a promotion. This is the 13th century where loyalty is measured in blood, speed is survival, and mercy is a weakness that gets you and everyone you know killed. Arban soldier, the expendable 10. You're part of an arban, a unit of 10 soldiers. You're not special. You're not even individually important. You're 1/10 of the smallest tactical unit in the Mongol army, and your primary value is that there are 9 other guys who might die before you do. Your life is your horse. You sleep next to it. You eat next to it. You smell like it. The Mongols gave you 3 horses because you'll ride them into the ground during campaigns that cover 50 miles a day. 50 miles, on horseback, every single day, while European armies are covering maybe 10 miles and congratulating themselves. You're issued a composite bow that takes years to master, and you're expected to fire it accurately while riding at full gallop. You've got light armor, leather, maybe some pieces of hardened leather or metal if you're lucky. You're not heavily protected because heavy armor is for people who plan to stand still. And standing still in the Mongol army is how you die. Training is relentless. You practice shooting backwards off your horse. You practice the feigned retreat, pretending to run away to draw enemies into ambushes. You practice coordinating with your 9 arban brothers using nothing but flags and whistles because verbal orders don't work when you're miles apart. Your pay is plunder. That's it. No salary, no benefits, no pension plan. You get a share of whatever the army conquers, which sounds great until you realize that if the campaign fails, you get nothing. You're working on commission in the most violent sales job in history, and your product is conquest. The punishment system is collective. If one guy in your arban screws up, all 10 of you suffer. If one guy deserts, all 10 of you might be executed. This isn't cruelty, it's efficiency. The Mongols figured out that peer pressure is the most effective management tool ever invented. Your 9 brothers will keep you in line better than any officer because their lives depend on you not being an idiot. Z1 soldier, the 100-man unit. You've proven yourself. You're still an arban soldier, but now you're part of a zun, a 100-man unit made up of 10 arbans. You're starting to see how the machine works, and it's terrifying and beautiful at the same time. The zun operates like a pack of wolves. You're trained to split, reform, flank, and destroy with coordination that European armies won't figure out for centuries. You're not just fighting, you're executing military doctrine that's centuries ahead of its time. You're also starting to understand the reputation management game. The Mongols are famous for their brutality, and that's not an accident. It's psychological warfare. Cities that surrender immediately get relatively decent treatment. Cities that resist get absolutely annihilated, and survivors are sent to spread the story.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Your job isn't just to conquer, it's to terrorize future targets into surrendering before you even arrive. You've seen what happens to soldiers who show weakness. There's no honorable discharge, there's no medical leave. There's survival and there's death. You've watched men with injuries keep fighting because stopping means being left behind. And being left behind means a slow death on the step. The camaraderie is intense because it has to be. These men are your entire world. You don't go home between campaigns. You don't take breaks. You're in the field for months or years at a time, and the only people you can trust are the 9 guys in your arban and the 90 others in your zun. Mingan soldier, the 1,000-man veteran. You're part of a Mingan now, a 1,000-man unit. You're a veteran. You've survived multiple campaigns, which means you're either incredibly skilled or incredibly lucky, probably both. You're starting to see the bigger picture. The Mongol army isn't just superior because of horses and bows, it's superior because of logistics and intelligence. The Mongols have a postal system that moves information faster than any other civilization. They have scouts who gather intelligence months before invasions. They have engineers who can build siege weapons in days. You're also seeing the dark side of efficiency. The Mongol army doesn't take many prisoners unless they're useful. Skilled craftsmen, engineers, administrators. Everyone else is dead weight, After battles, you've participated in systematic executions of military-age males from conquered cities. It's not personal, it's policy. Reduce future resistance by eliminating future soldiers. The politics are getting complicated. You're watching officers compete for favor, resources, and advancement. The Mongol army operates on meritocracy. You can rise based on ability regardless of birth. But that just makes the competition more vicious. Everyone's trying to prove they're more valuable than everyone else. Your share of plunder has increased. You've got better equipment now, better horses. You're not wealthy, but you're not starving. You're part of the most successful military force in the world, and the pay reflects that when you win. When you lose, nobody gets paid because dead empires have no treasure. Jaghun Commander, the 100-man leader. You're a Jaghun now, a commander of 100. This is middle management in the most lethal organization in history. You're responsible for 100 men, and their success or failure is your success or failure. You're making tactical decisions in real time during battles. You're coordinating your 100 with other hundreds. You're executing orders from above while adapting to chaos on the ground. The Mongol command system gives you significant autonomy because centralized control doesn't work when your army is spread across 20 miles of battlefield. You're also enforcing the discipline system. When someone in your 100 screws up, you're the one who decides punishments. When an entire arban needs to be executed for cowardice, you're giving the order. It's ugly work, but it's necessary work. The Mongol army functions because everyone knows the rules and the consequences. The pressure is crushing. You're competing with other Jaghun commanders for recognition, advancement, and survival. The Mongol military doesn't tolerate incompetence. Fail too often and you're demoted or dead. Succeed and you might climb higher, but success means sending men you know into situations where they'll die. You're starting to realize that the Mongol conquest isn't about individual glory, it's about systematic expansion. Every campaign has specific objectives. Every battle has a purpose. You're not a warrior anymore, you're a component in a machine designed to consume empires. Minggan Commander, the 1,000-man general. You command 1,000 men. You're a general. You're part of the leadership that's conquered more territory than any other military force in human history. You're also completely expendable if you fail. You're planning campaigns now. You're coordinating with other Minggan commanders. You're managing logistics, food, water, horses, equipment for 1,000 men across hundreds of miles. The Mongol army moves fast because commanders like you figure out how to keep the machine fed and moving. The politics are brutal. You're surrounded by other commanders who want your position or want you to fail so they look better. Genghis Khan and his successors built a meritocracy, which sounds great until you realize it means you're in constant competition with the most capable, ruthless men in the empire. You've also seen the cost. You've ordered attacks that killed thousands. You've participated in siege warfare that starved entire cities. You've watched populations get massacred for strategic reasons. The Mongols keep records, and the body count is in the millions. You tell yourself it's necessary, that it's the price of building an empire, that history will remember the empire, not the dead. But you know the dead. You remember faces. You remember cities. You remember the screaming. You've become the thing that makes civilizations collapse, and you're not sure when you stopped being a soldier and started being a force of nature. Tumen Commander, the 10,000-man warlord. You command a tumen, 10,000 men. You're one of the highest-ranking generals in the Mongol army. You're a warlord who answers directly to the Khan. You've reached the top of a system built on speed, loyalty, and merciless efficiency. You're not fighting anymore, you're orchestrating. You're planning invasions of entire kingdoms. You're coordinating multiple Minggan. You're making strategic decisions that will determine the fate of civilizations.
Yes,
Your
but it's
orders will
only a
kill tens
temporary
of thousands
position.
or
The
save tens
camera
of
will
thousands.
recognize what's
The loneliness
expendable.
is absolute. You can't trust anyone completely because everyone wants your position. Your subordinate commanders are waiting for you to fail. Your peer commanders are competing for the Khan's favor. The Khan himself is evaluating whether you're still useful or becoming a threat. You've sacrificed everything for this position. Your youth is gone. Your innocence is buried under a mountain of corpses. Your relationships are transactional. You've become pure function, a tool for expanding the Mongol Empire. And you're very, very good at it. But you also know the truth. The Empire will outlive you, and when you're gone, another commander will take your place and continue the expansion. You're not special, you're just effective. And in the Mongol army, effective is all that matters. The truth. This is what it meant to climb through the Mongol army ranks. From expendable arban soldier to tumen commander, every level demanded absolute loyalty, brutal efficiency, and the willingness to sacrifice everything, including your humanity, for the empire. The Mongol army wasn't the largest in history. It wasn't the best equipped, but it was the most efficient, the most adaptable, and the most ruthlessly managed military force the world had ever seen. They conquered because they built a system where individual glory was secondary to collective success, where merit mattered more than birth, and where failure was punished with death. The men who climbed these ranks weren't heroes. They were components in a machine designed to consume empires. They traded their lives, their morals, and their souls for a share of the largest land empire in human history. And almost all of them died young, violent deaths, forgotten by the empire they built. This was the Mongol army, not the legend, the reality. And it was more terrifying than any myth.